chicken is now done. What we're doing here is Ashley is doing his expert skills. He's pulling the meat off because we don't want the bone or anything. What we want is just the small pieces of the chicken there. So he's just going to go ahead and pull the bone off and skin it. In the meantime, once that starts getting down, I'm going to go ahead and start preparing the tomatoes in this dish. So we're going to get that set up and go ahead and do that. Of course, it's always vital to keep your assistants well fed. So we're getting the skin. Alright, we finished boiling. We're going to skin the chicken. We have it in small chunks here. We'll probably get it as we go along, but we have it in little pieces. The tomatoes ready right here. Alright? So what we're going to do now is we're going to move over to the skillet, get the oil that we need. Alright, we're going to have the heat on. So what we're going to do here now, here's that, and pour oil in. You want a fair amount of oil. You don't want too much because it's bad for you, but you know, it's part of the flavor. We're going to need it in there, and we're going to let that heat up a little bit until it gets hot, and we're going to put the tomatoes in. So that's going to heat up for now, and we'll get back to you. The oil has gotten hot, so now we're going to put in the tomatoes. What you want here, be a little bit careful, because when you put the colder tomatoes inside the oil, it's going to bubble and stuff, so you want to be careful with that. Spraying hot oil is just not a good thing. Safety hazard right there. So
those guys are going to be done by him.
Gonna get this here. 1900. Alright. So we don't need this anymore. We can probably burn it. Now, what you're gonna want to do is spread the tomatoes out in the oil. Get them all equal in there.
What's that working?
What we're going to do is wait for them.
No, we're not.
Start to mush up a little bit.
So we still have to do them all out here.
We're going to also add salt. We get a fair amount of salt. And you all over. That mixes really well with the tomatoes.
You guys
put that in there. Mix that up.
I don't give a fuck right now.
Just let it go for a while.
You're going to do one, what, 30 days after you get back, or 90 days?
Yeah. Just going to let that go. Nice. So now we just need to wait for that to get to a mushy consistency. And keep stirring it during the process. That's when that happens. Alright. Coming along, maybe about halfway through the sauteing. What I like to do is get a piece or so around this point. Starting to get a little soft. They're a little hot. They're quite hot. But cool it down. I'm going to taste it a little bit and see how salty it is. Because you're going to add a lot of other stuff. Initially it's going to be pretty salty with just the tomatoes, but you want that. It's not the most healthy dish, but it tastes good. So we're just going to... It's pretty good. It's going to need a little bit more salt though with this much tomatoes. So, sprinkle that in, stir that up as well. The best kind of tomatoes for this as well are going to be, slicing tomatoes so you can get them small, but sweet. The sweeter the tomatoes you can get, the better. So, yeah, they're starting to mush. I like to look at the ones with a little bit of skin on them, push them down and see how much they're mushing. It's pretty good. You want it to be as close as paste as possible, but I'm not the most patient guy, so we don't always wait. Alright, it's a little bit longer, and we're going to start adding the chicken. Alright. The tomatoes have gotten to a good consistency now. They're going to use a little more, but since we're not putting the eggs in until after the chicken, that will give it a little bit more time. But you can see a little juice. So what we're going to do is, Ashley here is taking the chicken, and we're putting in small chunks. Now you want smaller chunks if possible because you're going to be eating this with bread in small bits. You're going to be picking it up with the bread, not with silverware. So you can't just like bite it apart. You're going to want bite-sized pieces at all times. One thing I like to do is put the chicken in before the tomato or before the eggs. You don't have to, but I kind of fries the chicken a little bit additionally, which out here we don't always know if it's cooked. Good thing to do in the combat zone. Also, I like that slight fried, salty flavor to the chicken, and cooking in this oil kind of does that. So I'm going to continually stir while I get all the chicken in here, and then once it's all in, I'm just going to let the tomatoes finish on their sauteing, and then the chicken itself just fry up and get a little burnt. Alright, a little bit for the food, a little bit for that. Alright, we're now cracking the eggs in. Now when you put the eggs in, you're going to want to scramble them initially as well, because you don't want large chunks of egg to build up. So I'm going to crack them in. It's best if one person's cracking, the other stirring. I mean, you can do it with one person and you just crack one or two, and then you stir it and crack one or two, but it still has some build up. So that's what we like to do, is just crack and stir at the same time. I want to get that oil mixed in well. We're doing about 50 eggs right now. They're not as big as American eggs, so you need more. If you're going to do this in America, you probably don't need that many, maybe 30 or so for this size. But here, we're about 60 is probably good for a large meal, about 8 people or so. Alright, we're going to continue to do this and stir them in for a while. Alright, we put all the eggs in and get into a good consistency. Now, you don't want it to be totally just scrambled eggs. You want it to be a little juicy in there, and that really helps facilitate with the bread, picking it up and all. And the bread will tend to soak up some of the oil as well, so that's good. But yeah, you don't want it to be totally dry. So this is about a good consistency right here. Now we're going to get the trays out, and we're going to start to dish it up and split it between the people. Alright? So we're going to kill the heat. Should be good now. Get the food. Alright. Got a little bit of oil in there. It's pretty good. Start to dish it up. A good half tray here. And we'll even it out as we go. The other major ingredient that we're missing is the bread. Now this is the Afghan bread right here. It looks like this. Big loaf. It's kind of like naan bread from India. We don't have that much right now, because they were out when I went to get additional supplies. But that's the kind of stuff we're going to pick up. So we're going to split this up, and this is the complete dish. We have the bread here, and we have the eggs in here. I'm going to sit down real quick. We're going to try a little bit and see how it turned out. Grab it, bread, get a good sampling of the tomatoes and the chicken, and we're going to... Here's the lid up. What's up? It's good. And that has been Cooking in Afghanistan. Thank you.